right, Jordie, thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Grow with the Flow. Uh, let's just start with Seven Eagle and how did you start Seven Eagle?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me on. It's an honor, and you guys have been a great partner to us over the years, so I appreciate that. So Seven Eagle Group, we're going into I think our ninth year now. I started the business with this mission of connecting our country's military veterans here in the United States with companies who could benefit from just top candidates, and it's been a great ride. We've grown to about 45 team members now. We're a remote operation, and we train military talent in cybersecurity and technology, and then we place them into positions at our clients' companies. So,
all right. So, what kind of industry do you typically operate in?
So we work across all industries. Our focus is cybersecurity and technology. But if a company has a great opportunity, a good career in any other area, we'll help them find a match for that talent. We try to stay away from jobs that are paying less than $50,000 a year, because we like to have people, we like to put them into careers, not necessarily jobs, not necessarily an hourly position that, they're going to leave as soon as they get, a 50-cent raise. We're looking for somebody to find a home that can really catapult their career.
Makes sense. So, what did you see before starting Seven Eagle that you decided, okay, I'm going to focus on veterans who are, transitioning into a civilian career?
Serving in the U.S. military, I think, is one of the best career preparations that somebody can go through. I mean, that's where, our service members learn all about leadership and hard work and discipline and dealing with failure and getting, having that dedication, that drive, that toughness to, get the job done and to get it done well. And when service members leave the military, they have this really strong foundation that transitions extremely well to the civilian world. So they take those skills, those character traits that were instilled in them, they take those now to their civilian company, and they tend to be just incredible workers. They have that strong base, and they're very coachable, and they're, they put their company first, and that mission first, and those are traits that not a lot of civilians, it's not intuitive to them. They have to learn those in the military. They already have that training under their belt. So, first and foremost, that's the reason why our hiring companies provide opportunities to these military veterans, because they want their companies to grow. They want their companies to do well and be profitable. But the added benefit is that you're doing a really, nice patriotic act for your country, to give somebody who served and who's put their life on the line for our country to protect our freedom, to give that person an opportunity to have a rewarding and a lucrative career is a really nice thing that companies do. So that's the extra benefit. And those two things combined, I looked at that. I was a business owner and a variety of other ventures prior to this one, and those were qualities when I was looking for talent that were very appealing to me. And I figure, hey, if they're appealing to me, I know they'll be appealing to other business owners too. So that's the reason I launched this.
Makes sense. So why is it hard for companies, right, like to why is it hard for companies to find veterans who are transitioning into a civil life, that they need somebody like Seven Eagle?
It, I think it's hard for companies, whether you're looking for a veteran or a civilian. It's really hard to find talent today. It's not an easy thing. I mean, they're the way the internet has made it really easy for people to apply to a job, right? So
Right.
somebody who's looking for work can sit in front of their computer and hit apply, 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 and they could do that all day long and apply to 50 or 100 jobs. And if you're on the receiving end of those applications, you might post a job in the morning and by lunchtime you have 500 applicants, and it's really hard to sift through that and evaluate quickly the person that you need from that. So hiring is it's a challenge. It's not easy. Depending on if your job is in a specific location where you need talent, or if it can be done remotely and the person can live anywhere, makes it easier if you have that flexibility. If they must be in a certain city near your headquarters, it makes it a little harder because your talent pool is smaller. It's a candidates market today. There are not a lot of good candidates out there for the number of jobs, the number of companies that need them. So you have a lot of fighting over the same good people. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge on both sides, to find that match. Where are you going to, find the home if you're a candidate that, fits in with your vision for what you want in your career, and where the culture is going to be a good fit. The pay is going to be what you're looking for, the responsibilities, and then from the company standpoint, they want to find people who are going to stay long term in those positions,
Makes sense. So help us understand Seven Eagle a little better, right? So do you do direct placements? Do you do contract placements? What do you typically do?
We do whatever our clients need. Most of our work happens to be direct hire. We do contract positions as well. We are an authorized provider of the military skill bridge program, and that's a really unique and incredible opportunity that allows service members to leave the military up to 6 months early and go into an internship environment. So we place a lot of transitioning service members into these internships with companies. And the reason why it's so popular is because the service member gets an opportunity to really determine, is this the industry I want to be in? Is this the company I want to be with for my post-military career? And so they get to really, test drive that company to make sure in that industry that that's a good fit for them. And they also, so in doing so, they get the opportunity to develop skills that they might not have had in the military, develop these civilian skill sets that are going to make them very valuable to hiring companies. So it makes it an easier transition for them. And then from the company's standpoint, they do not have to pay the talent for that internship period because they're still receiving their military pay. So that eliminates all their risk in hiring. And they get a chance too to make sure, hey, is this the type of person who fits in well here and is adding value? And with the goal at the end of this internship program to convert that service member to a W-2 employee position. So that's the outcome that everybody wants going in. And so we do a lot of placements in that program.
Okay, so do you, in your experience, right, like, do you think that people who are part of this skill bridge program would they be interested in becoming headhunters / recruiters? And Do you think they would probably make good headhunters or not?
Oh, terrific. I mean, to the
Yeah.
point where almost everybody we hire here at Seven Eagle, they start as SkillBridge interns because we want to make sure that they enjoy this career path. We're actually launching our own training program in February for transitioning service members who are interested in being recruiters, who want to be who want to be job recruiters. And we have 163, I think, people who are expressing interest in that program so far. We're going to narrow it down to 30, but we'll train them in a full-time environment for 30 days, and we'll teach them how to be effective recruiters. And then from there, we'll try to get them jobs with companies who they want to work for in the industry. So yeah, there's definitely a demand for people to work in recruiting.
Makes sense. The reason that I ask is, if anybody listening to this, if they are interested in, maybe getting an intern and eventually hiring a veteran as a recruiter, should they be reaching out to Seven Eagle?
Yeah, 100%. We'd love to help any of Recruiterflow's clients or prospective clients. Listen, one of the biggest challenges in running a business in a recruiting agency is the cash flow, is trying to keep the business going, to pay all the expenses, to pay the staff while you're waiting on your clients to pay your fees. Most of us work on contingency, and an opportunity to reduce some of that pressure financially gives you a better chance of success. So yeah, we would be happy to help any of your people in your audience.
Perfect. So I'm going to put some contact details in the description, so that people can reach out to you. And if not, you can reach out to me. I'll put you in touch with Jordie. So Jordie, you mentioned you have 45 people team. Is that correct? Okay.
Correct.
What does the hierarchy look like in that team?
Mm-hmm. So we have it's not a lot of hierarchy. I have a guy named Derek Barnhart who manages all of our recruiters, which is the majority of our team. I have a woman named Brenna Van Stone on the team who manages all these training programs that we do. And then we have a team of sourcers, headhunters who assist the other groups in finding the talent and evaluating the talent. So we're pretty flat. We don't have a lot of layers. We're all very focused on this mission of, even though we're a for-profit company and we need these placements to help the company survive, we care deeply about the community that we serve, and we never let our fees get in the way of military talent connecting with jobs. And everyone cares immensely about that, about helping this audience of people who really need our support, helping to get them into some great career paths, and then at the same time helping companies get superstars so they can keep growing and doing well.
Makes sense. So another very interesting thing is that, traditionally, if you're a recruiter, headhunter, you would go hunt your candidates on LinkedIn, Indeed, these, it's very popular platforms. What do your hunting grounds look like?
Good question. I mean, there's no easy answer to that, because we, like everyone else in this industry, you headhunt wherever you can, so we, first and foremost, it's crucial to have a platform that enables you to stay organized and on task, and that's why we use Recruiterflow. I've during my 9 years in business, I've tried, we've got 4 different platforms, and in my opinion, Recruiterflow is the best one. It's enabling us to work together as a group much more easily. We're all remote, so it's crucial that we have software that's going to be easy for the team to use, enable us to track every candidate who we headhunt, to put them into pipelines, to keep histories of all of our conversations, to have template emails so everybody's using the same process in our headhunting. But I mean, to answer your question, we have we call it a talent network, and that's where anyone who is in this military community who reaches out to us, we put them into this network and we enter all that data into Recruiterflow. So we have thousands and thousands of records of candidates who have asked for us to help them. So all that information is in Recruiterflow. When we get new assignments, the first place we always start our headhunting initiatives is in Recruiterflow. So we do some advanced searches to try to identify people who we feel might match to that specific job requirement. And then we reach out to them with a phone call or a Zoom call to further evaluate them to determine if they're appropriate. So that's usually the first place we start with headhunting. Next is we do stuff on Indeed, we do stuff on LinkedIn. We work with all the military bases around the world to excuse me, with their point of contacts there to promote positions. It's really whatever we have to do, we do those initiatives, to try to uncover the talent, to try to find where they are.
Makes sense.
And it's challenging. That's the bulk of our activities.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's not just you. Across a lot of customers of Recruiterflow, including us, right? Like it's hard to be recruiting right now. There is something very interesting that I saw about Seven Eagle, and that is the amount of content, in at least videos, that you have created. So there is a massive video library. Even there are a lot of candidate introduction videos and all of that, right? So what made you so heavy on video? And
yeah, great question. I mean, recruiting's it's a very tough business, in the fact that when we get an assignment, we're looking for one person, right? We need a cybersecurity analyst who lives in Pittsburgh to make $70,000, right? We might have 100 people or 200 people that we're evaluating for that one position who have expressed interest. And if we do our jobs well, that we get one of those, say 100 people hired, the other 99 people are getting basically rejected. They're not getting that position. And, unfortunately, these candidates are not blaming the client. They're going to blame us. Oh, Seven Eagle didn't get me the job. They failed me. So one of the strategies that we use to help this audience, because we want to help all of them, not just the one we're placing, we want to help the other 99 too, is be able to provide them with information and educational content that they can use to help in their career, right? If we can help them write a better resume, or teach them how to network, or how to build a LinkedIn page, or how to do an informational interview, or how to dress for an interview, any of this content that we can share with this massive audience of we're interacting with, is something that we believe strongly in. We want to help. And almost all the time we're not monetizing that. There's no revenue that's coming back to us. But hey, if we can help somebody in our audience get a job on his own or her own, that's okay too. That's a great outcome. We don't need a lot of these folks on our end to place them to fill our clients' positions, but we have thousands and thousands reaching out for help. So that's the main reason of the video. I just think it's an easy way for people to digest content, much easier, at least for me personally. It's easier for me to watch a video than to sit down and read a blog post. I'd rather watch on camera. And I just like the connection. It's, like you and I talking here. It's not as good, obviously, as being face to face, but it's the next best thing,
Yeah.
and I feel it's easier to make a connection with your audience via video.
Makes sense. So, and do you think that, you know, this content library that you have created also helps you create top of the funnel for your candidates, right? So, you know, they might not know about Seven Eagle, but then they see this, they now know about Seven Eagle and end up
Yeah.
applying. Does that happen often, or that doesn't?
100%, yeah,
Yeah.
all the time, where you have somebody who watches a video that you've done and then they reach out saying, oh my gosh, we would love to hire military talent. I watched this video you did on, you know, how 10 pitfalls to avoid when hiring your next candidate. And can you tell us a little bit more? So it's a great promotional tool too. So you're serving a
Sure.
lot of benefits. You're getting it, the SEO, the search engines love video content. And you're providing a great service to your audience, and it's going to lead to some leads and some business for you. So everybody wins when you do it. And it doesn't take much effort. You know, you don't have to be feel like you're not good enough to communicate, like your equipment isn't good, you don't have a professional studio. I think all that is secondary to the content, to the value that you're going to provide. People are very would rather have great content than a splashy production with music and video editing. You don't need any of that. Anybody can film, podcast or video content right from your phone. So
Absolutely.
I
No.
encourage everyone to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting in a dark room with a cardboard box in the background. So,
You got it. You got it.
so yeah, no, I am completely with you there. So I want to change gears a little bit, Jordie, and I want to, it's been 10 years since you started Seven Eagle. Very few businesses, especially in an industry as brutal as staffing and recruiting, right? Like very few businesses go that far. And
Yeah.
even among the businesses that do, very few, get to like 40, 50 people kind of a
Yeah.
scale. Now, I want to understand that journey a little bit deeper, right? Like what did first couple of years look like? Then what did the next 3 or 4 years look like? How has the team size evolution been over last 10
Yeah.
years?
No, good question, because it like any business, it is a grind, man. It is hard. It always is going to seem easier at the start. Like, oh, I can do a business in this, and you start doing the budget, and oh, I'm going to be making this much money and this year and that, and um, it's just so much harder than that. It's a grind. You got to be willing to take the ups and downs and to slog it out every day. And especially a business like recruiting, where it's like this roller coaster. One day you get a hire, the next day your hire canceled on you and
Yeah,
nothing happens. So it's not for everyone, to be in an industry like this, where it's so attached to your performance, right? There are a lot of companies you can go work for where you get a salary and you show up every day, you do your job, and you go home. And this is not that. I mean, this, you live and die by your placements. Um, and it's tough. It's hard. It's the first few years of starting any venture is difficult. I mean, the first 5 years I was basically on my own. It was just me. Um, and then I slowly started adding people to the mix. And, you know, with that, yes, your revenues are going to go up the more and more people you add. But, um, there are some years when I was just on my own where I personally was making more money for myself than the net of what I made when I was on my own was more than what I'm making with 40 people. It's just, you just have to envision, a day when the company is just going to skyrocket,
sure.
and it takes a lot of trial and error. It takes a lot of mistakes. It takes a lot of money to do everything. But the reason I don't give up on this is because I just feel like we have this tiger by a tail. We've got this incredible team of people who care deeply about the work we're doing. We have massive demand on the company side for good talent. Companies, there's a shortage of good talent, so our service is in demand. And we have a lot of good people looking for jobs. So it's just a matter of doing the matchmaking, and just believing that what you're doing is valuable and we're serving sort of a higher purpose. The business is, we've grown every year, which is exciting now. And again, it's not easy, but we've managed to grow every year in existence. And have so many exciting initiatives that we're doing this year that I truly believe we're going to 4x the revenue we did last year in this year in 2022. Just because we're so much further along. We've learned so much from our mistakes, from what works, what doesn't work, trying to automate things, even something as simple as getting with a great ATS platform like Recruiterflow makes a huge difference, because that frees up a lot of time, that makes us more efficient. And I think one of the best lessons I've learned over the years is that you have to put processes in place, so the business can scale more easily. You got to try to automate stuff, so we'll use Recruiterflow for email campaigns that are automated, where I have templates already written, where I'm not asking my recruiter to sit there and for 20 minutes try to think of something creative to write. It's already done for him, so he can just plug it in, push a button, and it goes. And I think learning those lessons of, hey, what's planned for the future, not I think is enabling us to grow every year. But yeah, it's great. Listen, it's a lot of fun. If you believe in what you're doing and you have the passion for it, like I love getting up every day. I love, working on weekends because I love the work I'm doing. I love helping the community. And, my belief is the money will always follow if you have that drive, that passion for what you're doing.
Fabulous. All right. Last question, and this is something that I ask everybody. What is, a book or a podcast or something, right, like that you would recommend to all our listeners?
Yeah, good question. I've been so I'm a huge reader, or I call it listener of books. I prefer to listen to them on audio than read. It's just easier for my lifestyle. But I'm a big believer in a site called Audible. I love it. Where
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Audible.
Oh yeah.
Audible. Yeah, where they have a catalog of practically every book in the universe, and you can go on there and listen to so many great titles on everything. Because I try to tell my team members is you got to become a subject matter expert. You got to constantly learn. You don't ever want to stop learning. And even in recruiting, there's so much great content out there that's available to teach, to make you a better recruiter, to teach you how to interact better with your candidates, how to interact better with the clients and make more placements. And you need to learn from these people who are willing to share this advice. And Audible is a great source of that. YouTube is a great source. But I also like, as far as my favorite, I guess my favorite this right now anyway is I love a podcast by it's called How I Built This, and it's by a guy named Roz. I forget his first name, or I don't know if that's his first or last name, but if you type in How I Built This by Roz, you'll see he does an amazing podcast, very similar to like what you're doing, where he just interviews business owners, and they tell their story of how they began and where they are now. And everyone has the same sort of path. They all struggle, they all hit bottom, they all don't know if they're going to be able to keep going, and somehow they just figure it out and enjoy success at the end of that. And I just think every time I listen to a different one of these stories, there's something I can take away from that, some lesson that sends me down, gets me to think a different way than I wasn't then. Like, oh my gosh, this guy solved that problem that I've been having too, and here's how he did it. Let me take a look and see if that could work for me. So I just love hearing stories of other business owners who have been down this path before us and who have all struggled and all figured it out. You know, it's not perfect, but they all in their own way figure out how to make their venture a success.
Absolutely. No, when I sometimes I get asked, especially new people joining Recruiterflow, that, how did we get here? And my favorite answer to that is that it's been a series of very lucky accidents that happened.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, it's hard. First few years are, you know,
Yeah.
you're so close to failure all the time.
All the time.
And
Yeah.
you have to kind of learn to live with that, right? Like,
Yeah.
and still take risk, still do things that are bold, still do things that,
Yeah. 100%.
don't really make sense. And if you're lucky, you probably will get there.
Yeah,
So
you just got to
yeah.
believe, and it makes it fun and exciting, and it's different every day. But I can't thank you guys enough for the work you're doing at Recruiterflow. I could tell you, I mean, I can't highly recommend this enough too to somebody out there searching for a platform for their recruiting agency. I've tried a lot of them, and I'll tell you what if it's okay, I'll tell you what I like about you guys that others don't have. Um, for one, I think your price is very reasonable and affordable, and it makes it easy for small guys to get started. But I think my obviously your platform very user friendly and it's easy to understand. But I think my favorite thing about you guys is your customer service. Every time I reach out or somebody on our team reaches out, you guys always are very responsive. And there's nothing more infuriating as a business owner when you have a problem and you just want the answer to that, and you're paying somebody a lot of money for their service and they won't pick up the phone to get on the call with you, right? They won't respond to you email them, fill out some contact form. They say, you'll hear back from us within 72 hours, no, you want to just bang your head against the wall. And I think probably the main reason why I stay with you guys is because of your customer service. You have a great team that's very attentive, that truly cares about me. They follow up when I forget, I put in a request for something, they'll reach back out. And that just means a lot to a business owner to know that they're people you're going on this journey with that have your back, that care about my success, and we're not just another number to you guys. And that's probably my favorite thing, and probably the best recommendation I can give for any business, because I know what other business owners are struggling with. It's the same stuff I'm struggling with, so
Yeah, well,
anyway.
thank you. We try. And you are right. One of the I mentioned this earlier in the one of the earliest episodes of this podcast as well, that when we hire in Recruiterflow, one of the biggest challenges of our hiring process is how do we filter for empathy. And I think we've done a reasonably okay job. We can definitely do better, but of hiring people with very high empathy for their team, for our users, making sure that we have some investment in their we are emotionally invested in their
Sure.
success, right? So um and yeah, no, but this is very encouraging to hear. Thank you so much for that, Jordie.
Yeah, no, it's the truth, man. I don't talk like that freely about everyone. So it's that's something you guys should be proud of. You're doing an awesome job training your team to have that empathy and to really care about the customer. And that goes a long way.
Well, Thank you. Well, that's all I had. Thank you so much for giving your time, Jordie. And it was a pleasure having you.